during visitation, my mum took a holiday, and we were with Dad. He had kind of decided to kidnap us. The Australian Federal Police were involved and intercepted, trying to make route overseas or to Vanuatu. After that, my mother just seemed to find not so great blokes to kind of habitate with and have relationships with, and that's where my sister came into the picture, my younger sister. Her father was pretty straight when they met. Obviously he had his own demons and dramas like we all do, but he got into the drug game, and then the drug game leads to somewhere, and before you know it, you're walking through the wrong doors with the wrong people. And
too familiar with it all, brother.
Eventually, things fall apart with enough police intervention. Things can't continue, and mum's back to being a single parent, and she's at this point deep in addiction and trying to cope with her stuff. And then I'd kind of found myself leaning into the same stuff. I had a mother that was neglectful and wasn't showing up for me. Quite abusive. I was the reason for a lot of her life wrongs. And it's hard to wear as a young kid, and I'm not even a teenager at this point. So I'm just this young kid, just copping shit.
Yeah.
And then, as a teenager, I fell into the wrong crowd. No high school education. It was just, on the streets, rolling with dickheads. Thought it'd be cool to sell cannabis. You're just trying to find where you belong. I was 20 years old at the point, and I had a mate that relocated to the territory, and he's like, why don't you come up here? Get out of the shithole, come up, change your life. At the time I was on Centrelink, and I was couch surfing because I was homeless a lot. I was like, what, fuck it, I will. I'm living on someone's fucking couch. So booked a ticket, rocked up there, had a job interview hours after landing for a sobering up shelter organisation called DASA. That was pretty much when my life changed. It was the scariest thing I ever did. Like, in reflection, I think big decisions that were really hard to make. It was that it's like, all I know is this chaos, and my family's here, and my dickhead friends are here, and I'm homeless here, and I'm partying here. So what does change look like? And
where the fuck am I heading?
Change was a plane ticket and a backpack full of clothes.
Yeah. What was your honest first impression of him?
Cowboy.
Because I know there can be a lot of people that can take you the wrong way, Danny. So
most people do.
I think in that environment, my first impression was this guy's hectic.
Yeah, hectic in what way? Like
just like a lot of energy, and he did have a lot more energy back then. I think he's just like thriving in the chaos.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Trying to be more chaotic than the people he's working with.
I was only 2 and a bit years off of meth. So the first few years, you can still appear like you're on it for a start. Secondly, I have high ADHD, which has never been medicated.
Yep.
So meth actually made me calm. I got drug tested more times in that organisation as a staff member than any client ever did in their time there. I was getting accused all the time by people being on drugs.
Yeah.
And the ironic thing about that was everyone was accusing me of being on drugs because I was hyperactive. And I was like, you fucking don't get it, eh, cunts? Like, if I was calm the way you want me to be, I'd probably be on meth.
Yeah.
I picked out these 3 particular clients in my head, and I'm like, they are the worst cases to deal with in complexity of mental health and comorbidity and drug disorders.
Yep.
But they're not going to kill him. They're fucked in the head.
Yeah.
But they're placid fucked.
Yeah.
They're not like psychosis fucked where they'll just fucking stick a biro in your eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, so I was like, they're the worst, but they're the least aggressive at least.
Yeah, gotcha, yeah.
So I just thought, I'm just going to sink or swim him. So that at the end of that week, he'll come back and be like, man, that's fucked. I said, but that's as bad as it's going to get, so it's going to be right for me. We had to be ruthless in figuring out the truth quickly in relation to helping any client on an order or on bail.
Yep.
Because our relationship with the justice system was based on me being able to read 2 plays ahead of the client that was trying to use us, and be making sure that the judges were actually allowing us to have this power and allowing people through the system without being re-incarcerated on the promise that we weren't being played.
Yeah, gotcha,
now I fucked that up, this whole fucking ship sinks.
Yeah.
The ruthlessness had to be. The program was groundbreaking in so many ways, and unfortunately also towards the end was soul breaking.
Yeah.
I mean, I fucking left there after 7 years and felt like I'd been to war.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, that's not even taking into consideration the corrupt detective that was doing shit, and I don't give a fuck. I'll name the cunt.
Yep.
It does not bother me. People that were meant to be protecting our community were a part of the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like certain detectives in Alice Springs. This one particular detective, Mr. part of the fucking problem, right? Motherfucker got exposed in the end. Not going to go into hell, but guess what? These things happen. And walking around and driving around and fucking threatening me and thinking that I could give a fuck less, that your little fucking act is nearly up and you know it, and you want to try and fucking drive past my house with your little bum boys, and you want to fucking stare at me and follow me around in courthouses like I give a fuck.
Yep.
When you are the fucking problem I'm trying to fix. But guess what? Money always corrupts people. All right? I really believe people are not inherently bad in any way. Doesn't matter how much they act like it. I feel like everybody wants to be a good person all the time.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back. Season 2 of the Tonksy Media Podcast has finally arrived. And what better way to start it off with one of my sponsors. Firstly, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the few sponsors that have jumped on board. We have Dan Eldridge with Eiffel Drive Club. We got the man, Benny, with Wolf's Painting down in Tassie. Also, we got Bo Woods has just jumped on board with the Goods Clothing Co. And last but not least, these beautiful gentlemen here in front of me, with Inside Out Coaching Consultancy Collective. Yeah, welcome to the podcast, fellas.
Thanks for having us. It's a tongue twister, eh? Consultancy Collective.
It gets me every time, brother.
It's good to be here, bruv. Face to face this time.
Yeah.
Last time we did this, it was over the video, so.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we did one down in Adelaide.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But, now, fellas, I wanted to get you on. Obviously, I appreciate the sponsorship and everything like that. And obviously, if you've followed me along the way through season 1, you would remember Danny done an episode there, I think midway through the season. We wanted to get George on, but you come up, remember, it fell through for some reason. But
yeah, I was on holiday with the missus at the time. And
that's right. Yeah, couldn't quite fit it in, but here we are, brother. So what I'd like to do for starters is maybe just in a nutshell, brother, we'll get a bit of your life story out of the way, and then we'll sort of roll into how you guys met, along with, how the business evolved and where you sort of started from and then where you are today. Sort of we'll go along those sort of lines.
Yeah, well, I'll condense my story a little bit, but then maybe we'll come back to a bit more detail into, why we have the business.
Yeah, okay.
And pull out some more of maybe upbringing versus mission.
Yeah, true, for sure. Now, we've spoke a little bit off camera and, off recording and stuff. Had a pretty bit of a tough upbringing there, George. Like, can you give us a bit of a rundown on your childhood and stuff, mate?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, actually, I was conceived and born here in Queensland on the Goldie. So,
yeah, true, yeah.
Well, actually born up in Townsville, but parents met here in the Gold Coast. So, my father's from New Zealand originally, a migrant to New Zealand, and met my mother here in Queensland.
Yep.
They had moved overseas back to New Zealand. Started the first few years of life off there. And then obviously their relationship didn't work out. Mum had located us back here, be close with her family and, just fall out of relationship.
Yeah, of course, yep.
He had moved over to try and reconcile. And during visitation, my mum took a holiday, and we were with Dad. He had kind of decided to kidnap us.
Yeah, okay.
Me, I want to say us, me and my younger brother.
Yep.
That was the whole thing, there was the Australian Federal Police were involved and intercepted, trying to make route overseas, to Vanuatu, and
yep.
Yeah, so that was an interesting kind of thing. And
what sort of age were you here, bro? Like,
I just started primary school, so I was about 5.
So young.
Yeah. So did the first few years of life in Queensland, then over to NZ. That's when my brother was conceived and born.
Yeah, gotcha. Yep.
Back over when their relationship didn't work, and kind of just chaos after arriving back in Australia.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep.
After that, my mother just seemed to find not so great blokes to kind of habitate with and have relationships with, and that's where my sister came into the picture. My younger sister, her father was he ended up being a bikie affiliate. He was pretty straight when they met. Obviously, he had his own demons and dramas like we all do, but he got into the drug game, and then, the drug game leads to somewhere, and before you know it, you're walking through the wrong doors with the wrong people. And
Too familiar with it all, brother.
yeah, so our household turned into, just domestic violence and bullshit growing up. There's always an ambulance there, and police were there.
Yep.
Or,
Yep.
mother stabbed him with a knife, and chaos. He was a very violent man, and, step-parents tend to not like their stepchildren, and it was very much a story with us.
Yep, gotcha.
Definitely copped a lot of shit. So the upbringing wasn't good.
Yep.
And eventually, things fall apart with enough police intervention. Things, can't continue, and
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Mum's back to being a single parent, and she's at this point deep in addiction and trying to cope with her stuff and all the drama she had gone through. And
Yep.
and then I'd kind of found myself leaning into the same stuff. I had a mother that was neglectful and wasn't showing up for me.
Yeah.
Quite abusive. I was the reason for a lot of her life wrongs
Yeah. Yep.
at the time. So, it's hard to wear as a young kid, and I'm not even a teenager at this point, So I'm just this young kid, just copping shit.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, as a teenager, I fell into the wrong crowd. There was no high school education. It was just, on the streets, rolling with dickheads. I thought it'd be cool to sell cannabis, and
Yep. We all think that at that age,
yeah,
don't we?
it
Fucking
was,
oath, yeah.
it was, you're just trying to find where you belong.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's what the teens is all about. We're always trying to find where we belong.
Definitely, 100%.
We either pick the right people or the wrong people. I picked the wrong people because chaos was what I kind of came
It's
up
what you
in.
knew,
So
yeah.
just
Yep.
gravitate towards other chaos.
Yeah, right. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it's actually a pretty common story, isn't it? That you hear it a lot. Yeah, sort of. What sort of went on from there, mate?
Well, through my teens, it was just pretty much always intoxicated. Life was good intoxicated, whether it was high or drinking a lot and rolling with the boys, and
Yep.
getting into trouble. There was run throughs. All the things. It was
Yeah.
all. It's just one big adrenaline rush.
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for the thrill.
Yep.
But then I was 18, 19. My mental health wasn't faring too good at this point. I was drunk almost every day, so depression was kicking in a lot and getting suicidal, and
Yep.
end up having some interventions at the hospital after I was going to throw myself in front of a truck at one point. I couldn't cope with existing anymore.
Yep.
Kind of the thrill had run its course, and it was time to get off the roller coaster, and I was going to throw myself off.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I had a bit of a mental health intervention, got medicated, a bit of support with the medical system, and I don't know what it was. I feel like, when you got nowhere else to go, you'll make big irrational decisions, and for me it was the right irrational decision which kind of pivoted me into a better life.
Yep.
I'd recently had a mate. I was 20 years old at the point, and I had a mate that relocated to the territory, and he's like, why don't you come up here? There's plenty of opportunity. Get out of the shithole.
Yep.
Come up, change your life. It's working.
Where are we talking? Like Darwin?
Alice Springs.
Alice, yeah, yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
at the time I was on Centrelink, and I was couch surfing because I was homeless a lot, living with a mate, and I was like, what, fuck it, I will.
Yep.
I will. I'll fly up to the territory. What do I got to lose at this point?
Exactly.
I'm living on someone's fucking couch.
Yep.
So booked a ticket. Well, almost all the ticket, and got a few dollars off my mum to make the whole ticket. Had a backpack full of clothes. I didn't own much at the time. Touchdown in Alice Springs. It was just after my 20th birthday. It was I think it was about 20th of November.
Yep.
Rocked up there, had a job interview hours after landing.
Wow, yeah.
For a sobering up shelter organisation called DASA.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's actually, you guys will obviously go into that further in the podcast. I know a bit about that story, so.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that was pretty much when my life changed. It was the scariest thing I ever did. Like, in reflection, I think, big decisions that were really hard to make. It was that. It's like, all I know is this chaos, and my family's here, and my dickhead friends are here, and I'm homeless here, and I'm partying here. It's like, well, what does change look like? And
where the fuck am I heading?
change was a plane ticket and a backpack full of clothes.
Yep.
Yep.
Bro, I can relate because I'm 3 years into that now, from moving here from Tassie, as you know, as we've spoke about in the past, so 100% can relate there for sure. Like, just about me, my backpack, and a fucking plane ticket.
And it works.
100%.
It seems fucking crazy at the time, but when you're in certain emotional places, it's like, crazy's good.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm crazy now, so let's just be a bit more crazy. See where it takes us.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, for sure. So, so you've hit Alice Springs and...
Landed a job.
Yep.
You know, and I'd been trying for a little bit there whilst couch surfing and sleeping at a mate's to get a job and try and do some study, but there's just no job opportunities. So even that was getting me down at the time. But to land there, have a job interview, and the CEO was like, you know, if you want the job, show up tomorrow. If it's not for you, don't come back.
Yep.
And I was like, you know, sometimes they're the blessings. Opportunities are presented. You just got to grab it by
That's
the horns.
right, man. No matter how uncomfortable you feel about it, like, just grasp hold of it for sure.
And when you're so used to feeling like shit, or you view yourself as a piece of shit, and for someone to go, here's an opportunity, it's like, I get to prove I'm not a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this job. I'm going to show the world.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
And that's what that was, you know. So I got that job and I stuck with it.
Yeah. Had you met Danny at this point at all, or?
I hadn't met Danny. I'd heard of Danny.
Yep.
He's always been a bit of a disruptor. High achiever, good at what he does, you know. And he's, you know, he's true down to the bone. You know, you can't fault him. You know,
yeah,
what you see is what you get, and he's very direct.
Yeah, I can see his head growing as we speak, actually.
So I'd heard of Danny. I'd also heard some negatives because, you know, sometimes when you shine a bit bright, people like to dim the light. So
Yep.
And I think that was the case for Danny as well. But I was probably with Dasa for 3 years. And at this point, I was the manager. I was the manager of the job I started. Instead of casual, become the manager within the space of 24 months. You know, I was living it. You know, I was getting good paychecks and had my own place. You know, just got my own car. All these things. You know, all the dreams were coming to fruition.
Yep. Relationships?
Yeah, I ended up getting one a few years into the job.
Yep.
It didn't work out. You know, I think I still had a lot of shit to work through personally, so I kind of just latched on to anything that come my way, and it was toxic.
Yep.
You know, fell pregnant straight away, and
and
I wasn't ready for it.
Yep.
I think, you know, I wanted love, but I wasn't quite.
Yeah. You hated being lonely, but you loved being alone.
Yeah, because, you know, it was an upbringing with a lack of love. You know, it was I was very much in solitude a lot growing up, you know, and I felt like no one loved me.
Yep.
And then to have someone come and show me a bit of love, I was like, you know, that's it, I got to grab it.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, this is my chance to be loved. But it was the wrong kind of love. You know, I need to learn to love myself and work through a lot of shit.
Yep.
And I was looking for something external to fill me up a bit, and
it
was wrong. But that was another lesson I had to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a better lesson than what I was learning earlier on the piece. But you know, I got a daughter out of it, man, and it was magical.
Yeah, awesome, bro. Yeah. And how's all that going, like, these days?
Oh, look, it's on and off. I think, you know, the situation that was at hand when we fell apart wasn't very healthy. So, you know, we're amicable. We don't really talk a whole lot. I think, you know, we live in separate parts of the country, and
you
know, and I've got the business. She's got a good job, and there's not as much contact as I would like. Sometimes there's none, but
obviously something you'd like to work towards in the future, though. Like, you know, like get things. Obviously, as the daughter grows older and stuff, you know, she'll be inquisitive and stuff about dad, and you know, obviously
for sure. Yeah. You sometimes just got to accept, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
know.
For sure, bro. Yeah.
For a while there, I was quite bitter about it, you know, and, you know, poor me. But at the end of the day, our relationship wasn't good, but she's a good mother, so I'll put faith in that.
Yep, 100%. My story's similar, bro, as you know, obviously a bit different, but the whole part of, you know, I've got two elder daughters, and there was a moment for a good 4 years there, I was in and out of their lives, and just, you know, but so I know that sort of, that feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely, bro, yeah. So, do you want to add any more onto that before we sort of get into you guys meeting and stuff? Like,
yeah, like I said, that's kind of the short version, not a lot of detail, just a quick run through. And I think, you know, a lot of why from this point now, it's more, you know, I meet Danny, and, you know, we work together for that same organisation. We rock and roll, we have some fun, we change some lives. We'll talk about that now, and then, you know, the result is now we have a business in South Australia. So
yeah, for sure. Yep. What I want to know the ins and outs of how you guys met. Like, you know, was it just by luck? Was it, you know, obviously you said you'd heard of Danny before and you hadn't met him and stuff. Like, how did it happen? Because you're literally like chalk and cheese. You know, like even the way you dress. Your fucking attitudes, you know what I mean? Your personalities, like you're a quiet one, Jordan. Danny, you're just the big mouth. Do you know what I mean? So, fill me in. How did this all happen?
It was a funny one, you know. There was sometimes there would be some quiet nights on the job or quiet evenings. You know, it would start slow, then it'd get hectic. it's a sobering up shelter, right? So people drink later in the evening, police get involved as interventions, they come to me, it's an alternative to custody. You don't have to go to court and all the bullshit. So I would start earlier on the day, early afternoon, and sometimes, as a manager, you just got to keep yourself busy, look to be busy, be doing something. So I was sweeping outside, and he had an office in eyeshot of where I was working.
Yep.
So I was sweeping outside, and he'd kind of just called me over. He's like, hey, come over here for a chat. I'll let Danny finish the rest because, he's quite intuitive, so he'd picked up on some things.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so technically I shouldn't have even been there any of those times of the evenings that I was there. Partly it's also why I guess people within our organisation had formed some sort of story about me because I was a recovered meth addict running a meth program, and while everybody else was gone by 4 p.m, I'd still be there at 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Just quickly, whoever's watching this, if you want to know more into this story too, go back and watch the episode with Danny in season 1 because you do go into that a lot actually and talk about it. So yeah.
So sometimes you irritate people's demons.
Yep.
As a person, I seem to do that a lot, and I am not perfect in any way around that. But I see things that I believe are true or that need to be said, and I'll say them. I mean, I've even just driving up today, me and you having yarns about certain things.
100%.
I am blunt.
Yeah.
I'm fucking direct.
Yeah.
But I would expect the same back.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, that night, as many nights with the meth program, I was there still, I think it was about 8:30 at night or something like that. And I was hanging out the back of the donga, and I seen Jordan sweeping, and I'd kind of seen him around, but we never really talked. There was a person that at the time he used to kind of socialise with that I just didn't get on with.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with her. She just wasn't my kind of person.
Yep.
So we'd seen each other out and said hello. And then that night, I don't know why, but I go very much off intuition. And I was watching him sweep, and I don't know why, but my gut was like, he's unhappy doing what he's doing.
And you fucking know too, man. You've got this something about you. When I first met you, like you asked Beck, I fucking said, this bloke has got some superpower about him. So, yeah, I can picture.
It's I don't know what it is. It's like I can feel someone's pain.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be big pain. I'm talking big trauma and bullshit.
Yep.
It can just be someone's dis-ease inside their body, like just the where they're at.
You pick up where quicker than the average person.
Yeah, and then it doesn't really matter who you are or what's going on for you, or even if I don't really know you or whatever. I see it, and I have to just say what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yep.
So I went over and just had a bit of a yarn, basic chat, introduced ourselves, had a proper kind of like powwow. Can't remember the ins and outs, but I basically said something like, are you happy doing what you're doing? And he's like, yeah, like it's okay, like it's good, I'm running the shelter. And I said, no, but are you actually happy doing this, or like is there something more you want to do? And he said, I'd love to do like outreach, case management, which is all the stuff we do.
Yeah.
I said, well, why don't you do it? He said, well, I'm doing this thing. And at the time, we just lost the other staff member I had. There's just me and one other person with this meth program. We had like 130 active meth users at the time, both in and out of prison, on the streets, in gangs, you name it. It was fucking crazy. And I said to him, well, what about working in the meth program? Like, you know much about it? And he's like, yeah, I've heard about it. It sounds fucking awesome. It'd be cool. I said, well, just let's do that then. Yep. And he said, well, I've got to do this. I said, well, I'm going to tell Carol, I think you should do this. And that was about it, really. Like, it was kind of like, I think he probably walked away and thought, yeah, well, that's whatever.
That's pretty much what I thought. I'm like, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of chat, in my life, and no one follows through on shit. But yeah, sure enough, a few weeks go by, and the old girl, Carol, CEO, she calls me in. She goes, all right, you're going to work in the meth program. Okay, when? She's like, now. Well, what about my job? She's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Go help him out. And I'm like, okay, fuck.
What was the feelings that went through you then, Was you just like, holy fuck, this guy's actually for real? Like,
I didn't even think that. I was just thought about like all the responsibilities I got to drop on the spot.
Yes.
was a bit of a loose organisation at times, but you got to kind of, you know, change quickly and adapt. So it's like pretty much like your job's finished as of now.
Yep.
Just chat, and now walk out there into his office and see what you need to do. So I'm like, fuck, okay.
Yep,
Walk in his office, and he's like, well, here's all the bull. I didn't know at the time that he didn't like to do a lot of the admin. So he's like, first day, just go and do all the admin, you know, sort out our files, do all this stuff. I was doing the shit he didn't want to do. Yeah. Really putting me to work like it's an apprenticeship or something. You know, ego shit.
Like I just want to be with people, but in the profession we do, you have to do a lot of admin and case notes and just fold it, files and bullshit. I'm not really interested in it, but it's part of it.
Yeah, of course.
So I've had to work through that behavior. Now we have a business. It's like, it's different when it's someone else's. You kind of go, fuck it, someone else will figure it out.
Yep.
And we had so many active clients, and I'm trying to juggle all these balls on my own. And so you come over and started that first day, and I just said, can you just, I don't think I was prepared or something for the first day he came. So I was like, can you just basically do all this shit that I'm meant to do? Because I'm going to get in a lot of shit.
Yep.
Legally. Like, you need to have this stuff done. So he's like, no, that's all right, I'll do that. And then I think the next day, I said, how'd you get on or something? He said, no, it's mainly done. I said, all right, cool, well, let's get started.
Yeah. Can I ask, Jordan, right, and this is no offence to you, Dan, what was your honest first impression of him?
Cowboy.
Because I know there can be a lot of people that can take you the wrong way, Danny. So
most people do.
I think in that environment, my first impression was this guy's hectic.
Yeah, hectic in what way? Like
just like a lot of energy, and he did have a lot more energy back then. I think he's just like thriving in the chaos.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Like trying to be more chaotic than the people he's working with.
Yeah, okay, yep.
So,
which is just how you explain it too in your episode on season 1.
Yeah. So basically, at the time, I was only 2 and a bit years off of meth. So the first few years, you can still appear like you're on it for a start. Secondly, I have high ADHD, which has never been medicated.
Yep.
So meth actually made me calm when I was on meth. But then all the people in the organization I got drug tested more times in that organization as a staff member than any client ever did in their time there. I was getting accused all the time by people of being on drugs. Yeah. And the ironic thing about that was everyone was accusing me of being on drugs because I was hyperactive. And I was like, you fucking don't get it, eh, cunts? Like, if I was calm the way you want me to be, I'd probably be on meth. But because I'm hyperactive, you've decided I'm on meth. It's the opposite for me. Because it paradoxes. Like, it does the opposite. So if I sniff a line of coke, I stay calm. I don't do the chatterbox. But if I smoke a joint, I'll be like this, blah, 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 and everyone else is zoned out, right? So, there was constant shit going on with that. And when Jordan started, I remember saying something to him specifically, because I said, do you know what you're doing with all this stuff? He said, I reckon I can give it a crack. I said, well, that's enough. I said, bro, I'm not here to teach you shit. Like, just is sink or swim. Go out there. I'll give you the clients. I'll tell you roughly what to do. And then just make all the mistakes and we'll fix it later. Because I haven't got the time to teach you. This is sink or swim. And I trust you. So I'll set you on to what's got to be done. And you'll just come back and tell me what went wrong. And I'll tell you what we could have done better. And that's it. I'm not here to hold your hand.
And how did you feel about that, George? Was you like, holy fuck, I'm thrown in the deep end here? Like,
it was a little bit like that, like a little bit overwhelmed. And then, of course, Danny being Danny, he's like, I've got a couple of people going to come in, they're going to see you, see how you go. He didn't tell me these most complex clients, like psychiatric conditions, active use, like.
Wow.
It was a lot for me in the beginning. I remember just going to his office afterwards. He's like, how'd you go? I said, fuck, like, what's going on with them, man? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's like, there's a lot going on for them.
Yeah.
And he just kind of explained, I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. It's like a stitch up.
Yeah.
So I wanted him, my mindset with that was, if I give him what's probably going to be the worst he deals with on his first few days, nothing's going to overwhelm him afterwards.
Yeah, which is so spot on too, eh? Like, in any situation.
So, like, that was my mindset, was I picked out these 3 particular clients in my head, and I'm like, they are the worst cases to deal with in complexity of mental health and comorbidity and drug disorders.
Yep.
But they're not going to kill him. Like, they were actually very placid. Like, they're fucked in the head.
Yeah.
But they're placid fucked.
Yeah.
They're not like ex-bikey psychosis fucked where they'll just fucking stick a biro in your eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, so I was like, they're the worst, but they're the least aggressive, at least.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
So I just thought, I'm just going to sink or swim him. So that at the end of that week, he'll come back and be like, man, that's fucked. I said, but that's as bad as it's going to get, so it's going to be all right for me. You'll be all right. That was the theory.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Fucking more chaos.
It is.
Bring back the chaos.
And then from there, I walked him into the courtrooms because I had the whole Northern Territories courtroom system and justice system kind of like alongside me. You know, like everyone trusted me.
Yeah.
I always over-delivered and under-promised. And I was always very highly communicative with the justice system.
Yep.
I did make some mistakes along the way, but I'd own my shit.
Yep.
And so when I walked him into the courtrooms, and I was like, right, so this is what we do. We've got clients that we know are recovering, and they're doing the right thing. They may be up for charges. Some are in Supreme Courts. But if we know that they're going to actually change, we need to be their shield.
Yeah.
And we need to advocate for them, and we need to go head to head with correction officers, prison guards, the caseworkers in the prisons, the community corrections officers in the offices out in the community, judges, magistrates, justices, parole boards. You've got to go head to head with all of them, and you just got to show your teeth and have a bit of grunt in your cunt, basically.
Yeah.
Like there's no backing down. You without this sounding arrogant.
Yeah.
If you walk in there and you're attached to me in this program, they'll look at you like they look at me.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So then I took him in the courtrooms, and I think at the end of that second week, I remember sitting there and I remember him just being like, that's fucking mad, bro. Like, so you can literally just walk in, like, I can walk into a courtroom with a letter I write and they'll listen to me more than the lawyers. I said, yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, wicked.
But it's fucking dangerous too.
Yeah, of course.
Because the drug community talk.
Yeah.
And so motherfuckers don't want to own their shit. And so they'll come running to us. So this is where it gets real fucked up.
So it's like you're sort of on top of the fence with the
This is, it's a bit fucking tapped. So, I mean, I was pretty ruthless. I mean, very unprofessionally ruthless, technically, with clients. So I knew everything that was going on in the drug community. And then once Jordan was on board and Dion was on board, they were the same. Everyone was connected into the source and listening to all the politics and the bullshit.
Yep.
So if someone came in that was our client and started going, oh, you know, I'm doing fine, whatever. I'm like, you're full of shit. You're on the bender at the weekend with fucking Johnny and fucking Phil.
Yeah.
Whoever. I'm just making names.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop fucking lying to me. Otherwise, this is over. I'm not going to fucking help you with what we're doing. You got to own your shit.
Yep.
And sometimes we'd have new clients come in, and I knew full well they wouldn't want to change, and they just knew that this was a fucking get out of jail free card. And they sit down and, yeah, you know, brother, just really want to change and do all the things. I was like, oh yeah, cool. You got court coming up or anything? He's like, oh yeah. If you had court coming up, if you didn't have court coming up, would you have still come to see us or what? Yeah, brother, yeah. So you're full of fucking shit. Get out of my office.
Yep.
Come back to me when you're fucking serious. Now that's like completely wrong. I don't give a fuck. It was my program. I do it my way.
Yep.
And it worked. I had to be, and we had to be, once Jordan and Dion got their head around it, we had to be ruthless in figuring out the truth quickly in relation to helping any client on an order or on bail.
Yep.
Because our relationship with the justice system was based on me being able to read 2 plays ahead of the client that was trying to use us, and be making sure that the judges were actually allowing us to have this power and allowing people through the system without being reincarcerated on the promise that we weren't being played.
Yeah, gotcha.
Now, I fucked that up. This whole fucking ship sinks.
Yeah.
Right? So the ruthlessness had to be. And my organization, well, the CEO anyway, knew exactly what I did. I told her everything. So she was aware of it. But you got to remember, it was a non-clinical meth program.
Yeah.
Not a clinical one with doctors and nurses and bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
Non-clinical. So it's Wild West shit. Bit like a good version of Training Day.
Yeah. Yep.
To be honest. But not like stepping over illegal boundaries, but also ethical boundaries of like how you should talk to every client. It's like, yeah, we're dealing with meth. You got to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you do. Because motherfuckers are going to lie. And it doesn't mean they don't want to change. They just don't want to change yet. And I can't have the people that do want to change lose the opportunity that we had built up through the respect and trust of the justice system.
Yeah.
So you just had to be ruthless. And like, I reckon not even 3 weeks in at that point, like he thought this thing was like a drug. He fucking loved it.
Yeah,
Every
mad.
fucking day from that point, he would blink at 7:30 in the morning for the huddle and it would be 5.
Yeah. Wow.
And he's like, I don't even know what the fuck just happened today.
Yep.
True?
Yeah. Now, look,
True.
obviously, we'll go on further into how you started the business and everything like that. But I want to have a quick chat about, obviously, the two fellas that I had on season 1. God bless his soul, Chase, Chase Atkinson, and the legend himself, Shannon Outhouse.
Yep.
I want to know how you've come across those guys and a bit of the story into each of them, because both of you have dealt with them. Hey, like
Yeah. So one of the ladies I still respect highly in the justice system, Shona and Esley, her name is, and she was the head of the prison's case management team to help people through and out of prison.
Okay.
So she's in charge of like the social direction.
It was, she was the head of sentence management.
That's
so
it.
obviously, like they would assess people to move them through classifications.
Yep.
And obviously, report and observe behaviour and all that stuff would go towards their release, whether it's parole and all that stuff.
Yep.
No one moved around the prison without sentence management.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it became obvious from quite early on. In fact, I think I might have said this out loud a couple of times to them as well. I'd always say something along the lines of, I want, like, the worst of the worst, the people that you've all given up on or no one wants to fucking work with, I want them.
Yep.
I want all of the men that you've just disregarded and thrown away and put in the hard box or they'll never change box. Give me them.
Yep.
And Shona actually had similar ways of thinking about those kind of men as I did, from her upbringing and from her exposure to it being in the territory her whole life. And she's very deep rooted in Aboriginal culture too.
Yeah. Okay.
And so she would have those cases where she knew that all of her peers and upper management had basically almost disregarded Shannon and Chase and a fair few others I can think of, but not on record.
Yeah. Right.
But they'd been disregarded.
Yep.
Like, they it doesn't matter. They could have fucking spent the whole sentence squeaky clean, which Shannon pretty much did.
Yep.
And still everything would have been leveled at them and all of the obstacles and barriers would have been put up against them.
Yeah, I remember Chase even saying, the arse end of his last sentence, how shit it was. Like,
It was shit. Look, Shannon and Chase are very different.
yeah,
Okay, and he won't mind me saying this, brother Chase, if he was still here, and I know Sarah won't mind either.
yep,
Shannon was extremely clever throughout prison in relation to the bigger vision, the bigger picture that he had and the direction he wanted to go and what he had to do to get there.
and is still on.
And is still on in prison. Chase did not have that same level of discipline and consistency and did get involved in things he shouldn't have done.
Yep.
But only because he genuinely was trying to protect younger people.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but it still gave them what they needed to say,
Ammunition,
see, he's fucking useless.
Yep.
Like, he is a threat to society. And let's not sugarcoat this. On certain levels, depending on the society we're looking at, which I'm talking more underworld and other shit, he was a threat in a fucking big way.
Yeah.
That motherfucker was, I don't know, he had no filter for fear at all. He also felt things a lot more than anyone in his heart,
Yeah. Okay.
which was his gift and his curse.
Yep.
But Chase was a good man, and whether he made some mistakes while being in custody, he still deserved a level of care he did not get given.
Yep.
And on the back end of it, my question is still, what are we doing about ex-cons that come out of prison and stay and get through their order in relation to supporting them? Like the same as we keep letting veterans down.
Yeah.
They've both been to war.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Fucking war, they chose to go. Prison, they chose to be criminals. It's not the point.
No.
They're human beings, and they have feelings as well.
Exactly.
And thugs need hugs.
Yeah.
And I always said it. And I feel that the system in the Northern Territory has a lot of flaws that need be addressing. And before it's too late, again, because we've already lost one. But Shannon and Chase and the likes of them came to us because we were known through the territory as these are the only guys that will not just touch this case,
Yeah.
but will actually do real cool shit.
Yeah. And they'll hit it on the head. Like
We were
yep.
broken kids helping broken kids.
Yep.
As simple as that. And no one will ever know the violence it took to be this kind.
Yeah.
Hence, look at Shannon.
Yeah.
Look at the kindness he has now. Look what he does, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that it was our destiny and our purpose to do what we did with very high profile prisoners. We worked with murderers, some that serving life. We worked with gang members, and we worked with people that just bought a half ounce of gear because their addiction needed feeding, and they sold a bit,
Yeah.
and they got caught in the wrong part of the country.
Yeah.
If they'd have got caught in the Gold Coast for that, they would have walked off the fucking premises of the police shop the next
Exactly,
day.
bro. On bail. That's right.
But they did it in the Bali of Australia.
yeah. Right.
You don't want to do it
No,
there.
no.
And you do not want to end up in that prison.
Yep.
That prison is fucking third world beyond recognition.
Yep.
I actually know a story, and correct me if I'm wrong, George, but I'm pretty sure Amnesty International tried to shut that prison down.
We're talking about Alice
Alice
Yeah.
Springs Correctional Centre.
Chase, bro. Chase gives it the best description. Yeah.
Amnesty International, the charity against human rights, actually tried to shut that prison down maybe 15 years ago or something like that.
Wow.
No idea what happened after the fact, but clearly money talks and bullshit walks. I don't know.
Yep.
But, the one thing is that, unfortunately, as bad as the system, the prison and the correctional centre may be, you end up in there for a reason.
That's right.
If you don't want to be there,
don't fuck up.
well, fuck up, don't fuck up. But like, if you're in there, the majority of people are in there because they have done something that, according to criminal law, is the wrong thing.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's where you go. So
Yep.
the more you do the wrong thing, the more you'll end up in the wrong place. That's the sad side of things. But, a lot of this comes from pain. And
Still, the conditions of that prison, from what I've heard from multiple people, Chase mainly, it's worth going back and watching that episode, but God bless his soul. I never got to meet him in person, but felt like I knew him just through our conversations, But the way he explains that prison, I actually did a video on it the next day. It was like, for fuck's sake, what is going on? Why has there not been any change? So yeah, it's definitely something to look into. Like, if you're interested in that, just to research it and just check it out. It's like unbelievable.
yeah. So, the prison work we did was just one of many things. But, actively in the community, we were on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year with that program. That meant sometimes being called out into the middle of the night, and people would try to hang themselves.
Yeah,
I had a couple I had to cut down and resuscitate. People having psychosis episodes, we'd have to escort them into hospital triage. I had multiple incidents of assaults on me.
Yeah.
Guns pulled, knives pulled, I had a brick put over my head.
Yeah, fuck.
It was chaos, but for my personality at the time, it felt normal.
Yeah. What about you, George? What's some of your experiences there?
Look, pretty much what he's saying. Like, the whole thing was an adrenaline rush, and a lot of it was humbling at the same time. I think that's probably where the business idea came into it, from working in the prison. And you see the injustices, and you see it's sometimes very hypocritical, the system, when it comes to injustice. I remember one guy, I got sent into the prison. He was referred to me, and he had intellectual disability, an Aboriginal man from a remote community. He had intellectual disability. He was a victim of child sex abuse and then perpetrated it later on in life.
Yeah, right.
There's just victims upon victims, and they're all locked up as perpetrators, but you're also housing victims.
Yeah.
They're victims before they're perpetrators, and I think a lot of time that's where the system lets them down.
The whole victim part just is ignored.
Yeah, and it was weird, for a while there I wanted to become a police officer, I think, for a lot of the injustice that I went through growing up. And then, and I still had that dream even when I started in the meth program, but then when I really got to see what the program works with and the type of people that it works with, and how there is victims becoming perpetrators, no, being a police officer would be wrong, because I'm picking up victims as perpetrators and locking them away like animals when they just need some help. So
that's right.
I would be a prevention strategy, becoming a counsellor and working in a therapeutic approach to go, before you're a perpetrator, let's pick you up as a victim and turn you around. Or if you do become a perpetrator, let's make sure it doesn't happen again, because you're not a piece of shit. The system makes you feel discarded and like a piece of shit, but there's so much potential in there, which you've seen with a couple of fellas on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure,
we all fuck up, some people to a different degree, which is, lands you in prison. But if everyone had options, no one would pick to go to prison, no one would pick the chaos to live through that leads up to prison or drug addiction. Sometimes they're bathed in it.
That's right.
They're swimming in it all the time. Where do they go to escape? And no one knows anything different. So that's the program. Trying to be a prevention.
Yep.
I've seen so much bullshit.
Yep.
And it sickened me.
Yeah.
It made me really sad.
Yeah. Yep.
There is 0 programs like ours in the whole country.
Yeah.
None. The program was proven to be a resounding success, and yet never funded above what it originally got given. It was noticed by the Prime Minister of Australia, who came and met and ended up talking one-on-one.
I'll throw that photo in right now, actually. Yeah.
With me. Even exchanging personal numbers with Malcolm Turnbull.
Yep.
These things I say are not to impress anyone. They're to impress upon people. This shit works, and yet people in charge financially, governmentally, and in policy didn't want it to continue correctly and grow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why or what that's about, and I'm definitely not about to put a tinfoil hat on now and start beating the fucking drum, like all the last few years of all the other things, which I do agree with some things, but it just appears to me that this worked. Why are we not doing things like this around the country in other organizations? Non-clinical apparently is not a thing. They frown upon it. I don't know. I tell you now, if you're a meth addict, the last thing you want to do is go and see a white coat. To see a doctor, to see a nurse, as your first point of contact. You want to sit in front of someone who's been there, done that, and feels the pain, so that you can feel understood and seen, to be able to understand how to grow and flourish.
Yep.
The program was groundbreaking in so many ways, and unfortunately also towards the end was soul-breaking.
Yeah.
I mean, I fucking left there after 7 years and felt like I'd been to war.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, that's not even taken into consideration the corrupt detective that was doing shit. And I don't give a fuck. I'll name the cunt.
Yep.
It does not bother me. People that were meant to be protecting our community were a part of the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like the detectives, certain detectives in Alice Springs. This one particular detective. Yeah? Part of the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Right? Motherfucker got exposed in the end. Not going to go into how, but guess what? These things happen. And walking around and driving around and fucking threatening me and thinking that I could give a fuck less, that your little fucking act is nearly up, and you know it, and I know it, and you want to try and fucking drive past my house with your little bum boys, and you want to fucking stare at me and follow me around in courthouses, like, I give a fuck.
Yep.
When you are the fucking problem I'm trying to fix. No wonder the detectives didn't want to fucking partner with me at the beginning of this whole thing when I asked. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
But guess what? Money always corrupts people. All right? Mr. clearly had a lot of issues in his own life.
Yep.
And people, I really believe people are not inherently bad in any way. I just do. Doesn't matter how much they act like it. I feel like everybody wants to be a good person all the time.
Yep.
It's just that most people are not good most of the time, but they're not bad people. They're good people doing bad things.
Yeah.
And so I understand that whatever went on, he was too deep, and I was a problem, and I was a threat, and I was not backing down from that. And so he had to try and do what I guess he had to do to protect himself. But unfortunately, there was a lot of stories that I had heard over my time in the territory looking after clients where they had been exposed to this particular person and the way that he dealt with things and so forth. And to me, I just wasn't going to let that go, and I was willing to go to prison for it.
Yep.
I had my mum, my CEO, my partner, my wife at the time, all having meltdowns that I had to just leave this shit alone. And I remember saying one thing. I'm like, oh yeah? Yeah, I remember Nelson Mandela saying 2 years into his prison sentence, actually, lads, I actually don't think I want to stand up for this anymore. Can I just get out? Did he fucking do that? No. Yeah. Well, I feel very strong about injustice. And if my life has been put on this earth to suffer sometimes and do the right thing all the time because of it, I'll fucking do it.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't dumb about it. I had a dossier of stuff that I needed to protect myself with certain people that I trusted, including a private lawyer that knew about all this stuff without me ever saying anything, because I talked to him and then he said, oh, I'm aware of this stuff, but it's never been brought out. And then I had somebody very clever that helped me navigate and maneuver my way around these things. You know, corruption is not okay. I don't care how it's framed and how it looks. And I'm not saying that anything was ever proven.
Yeah.
So whatever I've said here today is not a proven fact.
Yeah.
Okay? This is just my story and my interpretation.
Yeah, yeah, for
Before
sure.
everyone gets on the fucking legal bandwagon and blah, blah, blah. Just my story and interpretation, motherfuckers. Nothing else. Yeah? But my story and interpretation is why I will sit here today. It's about what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was many other things that went down, but I have to be honest. We've talked a lot negatively about the justice system, but I have a lot of respect for the Northern Territory justice system and a lot of the people in it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done what we did in that meth program. They were all part of the mechanism.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? The local court judges, some of the best people I've ever met in my life. Yep. To be honest, would you not agree? You met them?
Yeah, very humble, inspiring, and to be frank, a lot of them actually don't want to be locking everyone away.
Nope.
It's just given the book they're ruled by when it comes to sitting behind that bench. It's, they're pretty hand-tied with what they can do. And this is why us being in court was so good, you know, to advocate. Because the judges said to us when we had a meeting with them, like, what else can we do? We have prosecution come in. We're given a sheet full of charges. We have prosecution's interpretation and story around what happened and their argument against why they should be locked up and not remain out on the street. And they're like, that's all we get. We don't get a counter story as to what good are they doing in the world.
Yeah.
Or why should they stay on the street? So we brought that letter in, and it was actually, here's the things they're doing. It's not a treatment report saying, you know, they engaged in the program and they completed it. That doesn't give any depth to what these guys are doing. There's a story, you know, that they're struggling in the relationship, or they're going through a custody battle. There's all emotional distress, you know. They're in and out of addiction. They're actually progressing in their recovery. They've been so many months or days clean. They've been doing the right thing, and we lay it out. Now, like, well, there's a lot of reason for this person to stay out of prison. Yeah. And we have that story now. Yeah. And then they can exercise, you know, some more leniency in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the Northern Territory Parole Board, if they are all such bad people, and I know that there's been a lot of bad experiences, But if they were, why bring me in? If they didn't care about trying to understand how to effectively do their job and make sure that they released people that should get released, why bring me in?
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to say that I'm not sitting here and talking up the justice system, but also, if you're in the justice system, you're in it for choices too.
Yeah.
But the parole board were trying their best to understand what they didn't grow up knowing.
Yeah, yeah.
So then they used someone that understood it.
Yeah.
From lived experience.
Yep.
And they'd fly me up there. They flew me up there once to run a whole afternoon's training on meth addiction, what it does, how it looks, and how we can help people recover. Now, that doesn't sound like a parole board that hates criminals.
No, that's right.
Or that hates the fact that anyone gets out, to me.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that in there because I feel like I talked to you about this on this last podcast.
Yeah,
the fucking trauma porn. Let's bang the fucking criminal drum and fucking mad cunts. Yeah, awesome. Also, there is rules in place and laws in place for a fucking reason.
That's right.
And so outside of the trauma porn and all the glorification and the fucking, the worries and all the things that we can talk about, and they are attractive to talk about because, it's interesting to learn. There is a lot of good people in the justice system trying to find a way to counterbalance the community's safety and also the safety of the individual that are coming into justice systems and coming back out rehabilitated.
Yeah.
It's not all bad. The parole boards, the local court judges, even the Supreme Court justices that I met, they were actually all people that were invested in trying to do the right thing by everybody. But yeah, most people that go into court systems and have services being provided to them leading into court, it's all generic letters and bullshit. And the judges are sick of reading them and they can't do nothing with it. And then the lawyers, they're just working on percentages, win percentages.
That's right.
They don't really give a fuck about you. They give a fuck about the win percentages.
Yeah, and the cash at the end of the day.
Right, so when you think about it like that, the judges are going blind.
Yeah.
Like they're walking blind. Well, we became their vision.
Yeah.
Our vision is what they bought into so that they could see clearer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And that was very impactful. And I have a lot of good memories and a lot of great wins that Jordan and Dion and Max and Lossie and Amir and Craig and Lindsay, they all had alongside those judges.
Yeah.
So not everybody's bad. The system, yes, has a lot of problems. But there's a lot of good people in a bad system.
Yeah.
So it's important to say that.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I don't think I ever hear this ever in any podcast that I've ever listened to about criminal things.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless it's obviously a judge or a lawyer doing the podcast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, 100%. And you've worded it well too, And from both sides of the fence too, from a criminal's view and from the legal side,
Yep.
It's definitely an eye-opener, brother, for sure. Like, yeah, look, so, all right, we'll sort of tie up that part of the conversation now. This is the part I'm really interested in is how this business evolved. And I know, Denny, you were driving a little bomb car around there for a little while, and and up until recently, I come and stayed with you there for a week in Adelaide, and you guys have got your shit together. Like it's.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
from an outer perspective, you
we're
look
definitely.
You just bought a brand new car and this and that, and considering after having that first podcast with you and hearing just where you actually came from, with your addiction and everything like that, and then I got to see that little bomb car in person, and it is a bomb.
Fucking Ford Laser 1990, baby.
But yeah, so give us a bit of a spin on how this all started. Like, obviously, you've left the territory, and
I think, look, we left the territory. Got given an opportunity to maybe move down here. I was given one, and I was said I could bring a person down with me or two if they
down
wanted
to SA.
Yeah, to do this thing.
Yep.
I'd have an opportunity given. At the time, I had walked out of my marriage a year previous to leaving the territory. A lot of bad things had gone on in that, and there was a lot of not great things happening, and I couldn't put up with it anymore. So I walked out of that, and the day I walked out of my own home, it was not my home apparently anymore, and so then I ended up without a home. So at the time, Jordan also had vacancy in his house because he had similar situations happening in his relationship.
Yep.
It was actually yet again our CEO, Carol, our surrogate mum, who said to me, you should go and stay with Jordan. He's got no one either because blah, blah, blah's happened to him. So I rocked up on his doorstep on Sunday, the 15th of March, 2020. After driving around all day and sleeping in my car and all the things, and knocked on his door, and he had me in for an hour, and then that was 4 years and a bit ago, and I've been living there ever since. Well, we've got our own gaff now down here, but we've been living together ever since, like best mates, business partners, train together, eat, sleep. Well, not sleep next to each other, but sleep in the same place. And we do a lot of shit together that people would think is uncommon.
Yeah.
Like to have no conflict.
Yeah.
Or ever,
I've said that when I first met you. It's like, have you punched on before or what? You know,
there's been nothing.
Yeah.
There's never been a raised word even. It's just if there is anything at all that's standing out,
you address it.
You just address it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to leave it from here with him because I rocked up on his doorstep, pretty fucking broken.
Yeah.
And he opened the door and said, just crash on. Oh no, the spare room. Sorry.
Yeah.
Spare room.
Yeah. Well, I had a 2-bedroom unit, 2 bathrooms, so have half a house, brother. Like,
yeah.
You know, we're always at work anyway, so you just kind of sleep here, use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Feed yourself. You know.
Yeah. And so, sorry, whereabouts is this? Is this in Alice still?
This is in Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other side of what he was saying, you know, he had got divorced.
Yep.
I was engaged and that didn't work out, which happened just before his divorce, and I guess, you know, after speaking with our old CEO, she'd kind of said, you know, like maybe just keep the door open for him. He's probably going to need somewhere to go soon. So,
Yep.
you know, I'll be prepared.
Yep. So you sort of seen it coming. Like,
yeah. And for some reason, I think intuitively, I knew it was going to be that day. I don't know why. I just said, you know, I'm going to get a knock today. Like, today's the day. And he came, and look, we just kind of cohabitated in the same house. It was streamlined, easy.
Yep.
I think the reason for the move to Adelaide and the business stuff was more, and everyone would be familiar with this at the time, Alice Springs was taking a bit of a turn with the youth problem and the crimes. And, you know, it was becoming very difficult to live. You know, before that, there wasn't much going on apart from work anyways, you know. There's no beach.
No, you're in the middle of the country.
There's no big shopping centres. It's very limited. It's just you go to work, you go home, and maybe go for a hike. You know, and once you've seen it a few times, it gets a bit boring.
Yep.
So it's just drawing to a point where it's like, you know, the youth crime's getting a bit annoying. There's got to be more to life than this. You know, we've been here for a long time, putting up a lot of shit, helping a lot of people. But, you know, we still wanted to be on the mission of helping people. So in my head, I was going to leave. I was going to leave Alice, maybe move back to Victoria where I was from, maybe do my own thing. And then, like, at the time, like, oh, no, maybe me and him can recreate what we're doing here somewhere together.
Yep.
And then he had been given the opportunity for down south to relocate there and start a job. And he said, you know, you want to come down with me? I said, yeah, fuck it, why not? I'm looking for an out anyways. I'm leaving regardless.
Yeah.
So let's just do it. And we did it. You know, we both resigned, you know, gave plenty of notice, wrapped it up, handed the program over, moved down south, and unfortunately, you know, we were in that job for a little bit and wasn't for us.
Yep.
You know, it was a different sector, working in a completely different role. We were a bit shell-shocked, you know. From chaos and addiction and mental health to another part of the community service sector like disability and doing some outreach stuff in that area. And I think between us, it was a bit boring, and there's a lot of tape to manoeuvre where we were cowboys in the territory. Essentially, you know, we were able to do what we want, work ridiculous hours, and it was super flexible.
Yep.
Just completely different. You know, moved from the desert to a city, different job. You know, there's a lot of structure in cities. You know, you can't get away with as much. And the territory, it's like another country.
Yeah.
It's like in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, across the border, it's all different.
Yep.
That didn't work, but, you know, we had that plan of, you know, at some point we're going to do our thing. We're going to start a business, help people. So, long story short, we got sacked because I guess our performance wasn't up to scratch, but we were going to resign anyway, so it worked out well. It's a lot quicker that way. Yep. You know, fuck it, let's do the business. And, you know, in my head, I thought business was as easy as you get an ABN, you know, maybe advertise you have a business and people just rock up and you rock and roll. No, it's not.
Yep.
That's not. It's fucking relentless.
It's still not. We're fucking 3 years into it.
You got this whole other side of, well, life to understand, essentially, because you go from just rocking up to work as an employee, getting paid,
your salary,
work home, they pay you weekly or fortnightly, whatever it is. With this, it's like, no, you got to understand how to run your finances, what's the laws in, the ATO and the tax stuff. And how do you wake people up to your idea of a business, how do you funnel people in? We were just completely out of our depth, no knowledge on how to run a business. There's a lot of, what's the word? Imposter syndrome. A lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of days of self-doubt and going like, what have we done?
Yeah.
Why did we leave the territory? We're fucked it.
Yep.
But fast forward, you just hang in there, you stay true to the mission, keep chasing the dream. Today, it's a success.
Yeah.
Or it's becoming a success. We're about to move it into a non-for-profit place from for a for-profit small business.
Yeah.
But we're growing steadily. We'll learn a lot about ourselves. We're working from disability to private clients. I do a lot of counselling.
Yeah.
A lot of our target audience is, business owners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we want to move it to an area where we can circle back and recreate what we had in the territory. Service the more disadvantaged people that don't have the money.
Yeah.
Receive government funding.
Yeah, for sure.
Not have another meth program, but have something that kind of functions with the same impact.
Yeah. An all-rounder sort of, I'm with you. Now, I want to sort of hear about a little bit about the struggles of the start of the business. Like obviously you've said, Dan, you struggled, hey? Like starting the business off, you was eating out of food things, and can you go into that a little bit? Like just I want to actually hear the depth of the struggle of starting it off.
Never in my life been on benefits before. No matter what, I've never accessed Centrelink benefits, nothing. And so going into business and starting a business, especially with no capital, like we had no money.
Yeah.
Like nothing. You got to be real humble. You got to be ready to be shown your worst sides and all the things that are wrong with you. And until you address them, by the way, your business won't win either.
Yep.
And so I think within November 21, we got the ABN, 17th November 21. And from that point, we just used to sit there at our two desks looking at each other like, so what do we do? Like absolutely fucking retarded. Just like, and I've got quite good autonomy. At the time back then, Jordan didn't have the autonomy he has now. It's not, you don't just have autonomy.
Yeah.
You have to learn it. And the meth program taught me it. The meth program was a business.
Yeah.
But the difference being is I always got paid.
Yeah.
That's not how business works.
Yeah.
It was a business that wasn't a business.
Yep.
Everything about it was the business, but I got salary. I didn't have to worry about where my money's coming from, where I'm going to pay my bills.
Yeah.
This was different. This was like, we were on the breadline. But I remember saying to Jordan, and he'd say the same, like, we're willing to go homeless for this.
Yeah.
And we nearly did. And hey, fuck, I don't even know what's ahead yet.
Yeah.
We're only a couple of years in.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was Centrelink to pay rent week to week, like the whole Centrelink payment pretty much.
It wasn't Centrelink though.
Well,
it was a scheme called the New Enterprise Incentive Scheme, which was for helping new businesses start up.
Okay.
But it was basically like having Centrelink, but instead of having to you go on Centrelink and I think you have to work, or like afterward you have to look for a job and shit.
Yep.
So you don't have to do any of that.
Yep.
It was wrapped under this scheme to help business owners get started.
It was the same money though as a Centrelink payment, identical. Like you don't get extra money just because you've decided you're going to have an ABN.
No, that's right. Yeah, you've got to have a future goal sort of thing. Yeah.
What we had to do was obviously make a claim through Centrelink first, then the new business enterprise thing. And then it was exactly the same money.
Yeah.
Just under a different thing. We don't have to look for work.
Yep.
And obviously at the time you got coming out the back end of COVID and stuff.
Yeah,
and
shit.
then the housing prices are going up, both rental and buying market. And it was only $700 a fortnight we were getting. So we're like, that's pretty much all rent.
Yeah.
And then the few dollars left over, it was, well, I'll look online now. I'm telling him, like, I'm looking at these things. There's food banks. There's this thing where we get food delivered in a box for $20.
Yeah,
Just some veggies and some loaves of bread, and
Yep.
and then that was it. It was
Yep.
enough money to make rent, and I'd get boxes of food delivered for $20.
Yeah, it's sort of like what I mean. There's one across the road here, like Red Cross, like they give you like shit like that. That's sort of a picture I get anyway. You know, like,
it's
like
exactly
hampers.
like that. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just a hamper.
Yep.
Just a few things for the pantry, some bread, and fruit and
Yeah, a
vegetable.
bit of cupboard milk sort of thing, and
I'll tell you what, and the fruit and vegetable, like, it wasn't attractive. It was
It's fucking trash.
It was the stuff you wouldn't get on the shelf. That's why it's free.
yeah, wow,
Absolute trash.
yeah,
But it was food.
yeah.
But it was
See, that really inspires me to know that you actually went from fucking nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like I said, I've been down there. I've been in. You've stayed at your house. And you guys seem like you are on the way to having your fucking shit together now. You know, and it's it's just really, and I'm sure it will inspire a lot of other people.
it's a
especially new business owners.
spiritual journey.
Yeah,
Stepping away from you being an employee and having a business. It's not for the faint-hearted, but at the same time, people start a business and give up after 6 months because they didn't become a millionaire overnight, and yet they'll happily work 40 years for someone else so that they can become a millionaire over time.
yeah, and that's such a good way to put it too. Hey, you know, it's not many people see it that way.
No, so
We definitely listened to a lot of podcasts, read a lot of books, and
Yep.
listened to audio books. I'm trying to understand how the fuck did people make this shit work.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think one thing I noticed for a lot of new business owners at the time, because there's a network when you start a new business, and we try to network and obviously get our name out there, and a lot of people were thrown in their business, you know, short-lived because they refused to maybe just get a part-time job
Yep.
to actually keep themselves afloat. So we had to bite the bullet, essentially, and just go, you know, I'm going to go and get a part-time job. He was just mowing people's lawns for cash.
and stripping asbestos.
And stripping
Yeah,
asbestos.
out the back of Wender, my little
You know,
shit banger.
And
Wow.
and some of those part-time, like, was classed as part-time jobs, but they were full-time hours sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
he'd be gone all week just trying to bring money in. And,
Yeah.
and he'd be making shit money or good money, depending on what he was doing at the time. I was making a bit over $1,000 for the fortnight, which obviously we could eat a bit better at
Yeah.
that point. But it's, you know, sometimes you got to put your ego in your back pocket and go, yeah, like, we'll work on the business, but we need to fucking live too.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, that's a point to realise too. So how have we made it this far, both in business and in life as friends? Because they say you should never go into business together. as
Yeah,
friends.
that's a huge thing, bro.
And they say partnerships in business, not just friends, just people into different people's bodies with one business.
Yep.
They say it never works.
Yep.
From day dot, there's never been a discussion about money.
Yep.
We don't talk about it.
Yep.
Like, as in, like, negatively.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, if he was to go and buy the groceries, it wouldn't be like, oh, to the cent, you owe me this, whatever.
No, yeah, of course.
He'd buy something to top the house up.
yeah.
It would just be mentally noted in my head, and I would get something. Like, there was never a tally.
Yeah.
And I remember saying
They're
to
both
him,
on the same level.
I'm fucking sure I said this to you, bruv, before we even moved down from Alice. I reckon I said to you, this has got to be like a marriage without the sex. Like, everything that's mine is yours, and everything that's yours is mine, and there can never be a delineation in between until we make it to a point where we're financially secure.
Yep.
I fucking remember saying that to you,
You've said it
And-
to me before too, bro.
and
Yep.
it's literally been from day dot that.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's mine is his, and his is mine, and like, we just catch each other.
Yep.
And like,
Well, it's that saying, right? Like, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's the small shit.
Yeah.
Like, what does it matter? Oh,
Exactly.
you know, I brought some bread this week. You know,
Yep.
you owe me $1.50 for it. Who gives a shit?
Mate, I'm
Like,
just
like, we're not here to worry about groceries. Like,
No.
we're here for the mission. It's about the people.
yeah, my relationship now is only sort of, my life has only sort of just come to that point down, like in a relationship wise, you know, like I've been in past relationships where it's like, fucking, you owe me this, you owe me that, or I've bought this, or, you know, it's so much easier and just more comfortable, no matter the relationship, if you're on the same level like that, you know what I mean?
yeah, and that's been a vital point at the beginning. So, like, if I went out and earned a nice bit of money that week, very rarely, but I would be like, fuck it, we're going out for dinner. So we can't afford it, so I've got a bit extra cash. I'll take us out for dinner.
Yep.
Got to have something to keep the fucking brain sane.
Yep. Well, look, you just took me out for a dinner I'll never forget, mate. The week I was down
Gauchos.
there. Gauchos. That's, I've never been able to remember the name of it. I've been, yeah.
So I guess, look, you dedicate your life to chasing money, you'll lose it all. But if you dedicate to the mission, the money comes as a byproduct.
Yeah.
And too many people get distracted by money, make decisions based on money, and make mistakes based on money. Just stick to the mission. Make sure your vision's clear, what you want to do and how you want to do it. And the rest of it that's going to get thrown at you is part of life.
Yeah.
You know, even today, like just before I come on this podcast, all sorts is unfolding with our business stuff right now with a particular situation.
Yep.
And my head's fucking mangled right now trying to do this podcast while thinking about all that and what that means about me and my character and how much I'm a fuck up.
Yeah, okay.
And that is 24/7 if you allow it. And the first 3 years I have allowed it. And I will fucking not sugarcoat this. Multiple times I've been suicidal.
Yep.
And just wondered why I'm even doing this, what the point is, how am I going to make it, and always driven by wanting to retire my mum, look after my family, and get to a point one day where money is not an object, not because I give a fuck about what it gives me, but what it means I can do to anyone that I care for if they need it. Just
a point where you don't have to worry about checking your bank account, in other words. Like...
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit bigger than that for me. It's well, the more income we make for the business, the more impact we can then have for people, because the more money, the more chances to do things to help. But also it's a case of not just being comfortable for me. I want to be beyond that level so that anyone needs me that I care about in my personal life, I can just wave a magic wand and fix whatever it is that is. If money is the only problem about that, you don't have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
You can get money.
Yep.
Right? So this first 3 years has introduced me to a lot of things I didn't like to meet about myself. Jordan will probably tell you the same. I think we can both agree that we've both been in some fucking dark places, suicidally even at times. Not saying either of us would have actually done anything.
Yeah, but the thought's been there. Yep.
That's something important to, I think, highlight, is someone saying they had suicidal thoughts doesn't mean they're going to actually, like, it's not some big, oh my God, he's going to kill himself. It's like, the brain just can go to a point where it doesn't want to play anymore.
I know it all too well, man.
It doesn't mean that it always ends up in that end game.
No, that's right.
So important to highlight. Like, I'm not saying, I'm just saying this is where the brain went. And I mean, Jordan, you can probably share that it's been very similar in your own ways for this.
Oh, definitely, man. You know it anyways. I've got this habit of retreating, And I think it's just a response to too much stress. And I think being a business owner comes with a lot of stress.
Yeah, when you say retreating, you mean like getting out for a good holiday or something?
No. I mean like a trauma response,
Okay.
But, well, back to my upbringing, I used to spend a lot of time kind of isolated to my room to avoid a lot of the chaos that was unfolding around me.
Yep.
So, and as an adult, I really, because I go to therapy now, need therapy. So I'm still trying to get better at who I am as a person.
Yep.
And it's something that was highlighted recently. I didn't really click. I just thought, I just wanted to go and lay down. But no. When there's enough stress and, those old stories that used to play when I was a kid in my head, no one loves me. I'm a piece of shit. I'll be better off dead. And I go to my room like I did as a child, but as an adult now, and I go in there and I'll have my suicidal ideation and I'll run the old tapes, like put them in the cassette and here I am, little, 5 or 6 year old Jordan, you're a piece of shit. No one loves you. Your life's crap. Wow. You never amount to nothing, and that's how I used to cope as a kid. And you have those moments still where you revert to this old coping strategy, which is fucking unhelpful. But and I think we all have it. When there's enough stress and enough emotion, you revert back to what you know. Yeah,
for sure.
And thank God for a good psychologist.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a bit more aware, so now when I'm feeling that way, it's like, let's just go for a walk.
Yeah, and even a psychologist, it can take you 4 or 5 different people, different professionals to actually find the right one too, I've gone through it all myself throughout my life, and I mean, at the moment, I probably need it at the moment, I've gone through a pretty shitty past few months, but I'm not medicated or seeking any type of professional help whatsoever at the moment, and I feel pretty strong, so... I know it just all comes down to the individual, I suppose.
Like we all have it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
Yeah,
and for some people, it's wrapped up differently. You know, I see a lot of men jump from relationship to relationship as their coping strategy. Just to have someone in their picture to go, yeah, I am lovable.
Yeah.
But, you know, you separate them from a relationship, that man falls apart.
Yeah.
For me, it's a bit different. I found safety in solitude.
Yeah, which is very rare, George.
So
yeah.
I've had to reverse a lot of my work. It's around, you know, a lot of inner child development, and, you know, I've got a beautiful partner now, and and she's a complete opposite to what I'm used to, and it's probably the best thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm learning to accept a relationship,
Yeah.
to accept some love, to accept it's okay to not be alone.
Yep.
And be happy with that.
Yeah.
And I think actually a lot of it comes back to living with this guy. You know, it wasn't the old pattern of I'll just cling to a partner to feel like I'm loved, but then obviously I'm too fucked up to meet their needs.
Yep.
So I'd get really annoyed with the relationship thing, but then I didn't know what to do. Then to have a friend where, you know, I've got someone in my space that cares about me, but they want nothing from me.
Yep.
A lot different to a relationship.
That's
relationship.
Right. Yeah.
But, you know, it was a lot of development actually happened in our friendship. Just go, no, it's all right. Like, to have someone in your life to live with you, to accept you, to chat with you, and to pick you up when you're feeling down. But it's not like having a partner where it's like, you know, oh, you need to meet my needs. It's like, I can't even meet my own needs.
100%, yeah.
So it was really good to start that journey, you know.
Yeah. And it looks like you've done it the right way too, you know. Like I said, it's very rare for somebody to be comfortable in their lonesome, you know. Like, it's like I can vouch straight up and say I've always been one that clings on to the first bit of affection I can get, you know, always. I always need that companion there, and it's not a bad thing though. I think, you know, relationships teach you a lot. Yeah, that's right.
You know, like if you want to understand the bits of you that aren't healthy, your partner will point them out.
Oh, that's right.
And that's normally the argument. You go, fuck, I really need to work on that. Like,
fucking, as you guys know, we've spoke about it.
They do. Like, partners will call it, you know, it'll create some division, some fractures in a relationship, but that's an opportunity for growth.
That's right, yeah.
So relationships are a good place to work on yourself.
100%, mate. Like, no, definitely. Look, the two more things I want to touch on before we wrap it up. Whereabouts are you now? How's life? How's the business? How's everything at the moment as we speak?
Well, it's about to transition business models, like I said before. So we're going to go into a non-for-profit just to make it easier to scale up with staff. So at the moment, we operate as a partnership, which is kind of like two sole traders under one ABN. So it makes it a bit complicated with all the staffing arrangements, but it's time now to
level up.
To level up. So I think we're going through a bit of growth at the moment. Like, you know, we've been a bit burnt out, and this trip and this podcast is, you know, a couple of days to reset. Yeah. And maybe talk about some things moving forward. But you kind of got to switch off before you turn on.
What about you, Dan?
What was the question? see that? See that there?
Yeah.
That's what happens in business.
Yeah.
So, like, just for a second there, I let a thought get away.
Yeah.
About this current situation just before we got on the podcast.
Yep.
And I completely went into another fucking world trying to control my brain.
Yeah, no, that's all. Well, all I said.
So what? Anyway, my bad.
All I said to George was, you know, I asked sort of where he is at the moment, and you know, future goals, sort of thing.
Look, I think we're exactly where we're meant to be right now.
Yep.
There's a lot of twos and fros in business all the time, and right now we're definitely in a transitional period where I think what we've currently been doing, the universe has decided we may have been slightly off course.
Yep.
So it's pulled the rug from under us in financial terms and with certain direction. But while that was happening, we were quick to start formulating, and luckily enough we have a great mentor, formulating, well, what do we do next?
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on what we've just lost, we're like, what do we do? 2 steps ahead. Like. What do we do next? It's not. I wouldn't even. I mean, I guess in a way we have been 2 steps ahead with what's happening with the non-profit, but we didn't do any action about it. But when something comes up, we have been very quick to stop thinking, well, this is fucked, and go, what else can we do? And just keep trying and testing things until they make sense or work. I think the next level up for us, turning into a charity and a non-for-profit organisation, will be very pivotal. We have possibilities to now finally get in the prisons around South Australia. Working on that at the moment. Should come to fruition by the turn of the year, so we can start getting into prisons, running breath work and different coaching programs that are not fucking clinical and boring, that a lot of the prisoners find very disjointed with, and creating some big ripples and change in the system down here now that we've done what we did in the Northern Territory. It's been a long time coming. We're also working with Department of Child Protection now and looking after some of these broken kids that have nobody as their guides, mentors and coaches to help them see a bigger vision of themselves past their trauma. And, you know, we seem to be attracting a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs that have made it quite successfully financially and forgotten about their personal lives. And then with that has come either addictions or breakdown in relationships. So they traded the vision for success and money, and that then meant, like I said before, they've lost it all. And now they have all this money and no one to spend it with. So we seem to be doing a lot of stuff with men. However, I very much like working with women, as does Jordan, and we have real good impact. Women are a lot more emotionally stronger and directable than men. Men are fucking useless. We are useless at owning our shit and letting ego get out of the way. Women are very action taking and emotionally intelligent to what we do as coaches. So we do love it, but it feels that we're being drawn much more towards working with men, young and old. So I think what the future holds is going to be much more of a one-to-many instead of a one-to-one approach. I think we'll be working in big groups in the future, whether they be for youth detention or prisons or just men in general that need to find home, find their way home. So look, the great thing about business is it's unlimited. We can become whatever the fuck we want, but you got to pay the piper.
Of course.
And you have to pay your dues on the way up and make a lot of mistakes and sometimes lose everything to start again and get it better and bigger next time. So who knows what's ahead? It's frightening. It's exhilarating. It's downright scary and also at times just euphoric. I wouldn't change it for the world, but it definitely forges you and introduces you to who you really are. Never avoid asking for help because you think it makes you weak. You should always ask for help because you want to remain strong. There's a difference if you think about
that was kind of my next question, was a bit of advice, you know. I don't know, somebody that's heading into a business, you know, starting off how you guys started. A little bit of advice from either of yous, from both of yous actually, as to what to do, where to go, so on. You go, George.
Oh, look, to be honest, I don't think I could say anything that a lot of these people probably haven't already heard. You know, I'm sure they've watched YouTube clips or they've seen reels and that they've been looking into business for a bit and maybe doing their thing. And whether it's someone like Gary Vee saying, you know, like, you just got to do it, like, don't quit. You know, what you want could be happening the next day, but if you pull the pin today, you don't get what it is you wanted tomorrow.
That's right.
And a lot of it is about just hanging in there.
You
know, you can't be upset with the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. You know, you just hang in there. Hang in there and do it. Be clear and concise with what it is you want.
Awesome, mate. Good advice. What about you, Dan?
Stop sitting on the fucking fence. I met so many people in the last 3 years that sit there and talk about this business they've got. And I'm like, and that's all you do? And they're like, no, I've got a full-time job. And I'm just building this up. How long have you been doing it? 4 years. You're not going to do it. Because you cannot be an employee mindseted person and a business owner's mindset. You can't do it. You're either an entrepreneur or you're an employee. They both start with E. But it doesn't mean that they're the same thing.
Of course.
If you want to commit to chasing your dreams instead of facilitating someone else's, you need to burn the fucking boat, go all in and be prepared to lose everything to finally find out who the fuck you are. And on the other end of that, there's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. You you want to build the business of your dreams, the thing that's going to take you there is you.
Yep.
You best start fucking working on you first, because the one thing we found that seems to have leveled our business up is the minute we start taking our health and mental health seriously. You know, both seeing a psychologist these days, never done that in my life.
Yep.
Eating correctly, barely ever drink ever now. I'm not saying you can't drink. I'm just saying the knock-on effect it has from substance abuse, alcohol, even just smoking weed.
Yep.
Shit food, can't be fucked the next day, gym routine. If you want to get where you want to get to and build this dream, stop making it a fucking nightmare by the choices you make daily.
100%.
The first 2 years, if I could change anything about where we're now at in our third year, it would have been to have taken my personal care much more seriously, worked harder in the gym, drunk less, eaten better, rested more, and found a way to switch off more and delineate between my life and my business life.
Yep.
Don't worry about your fucking systems and your fucking sales funnels and your websites and your business cards and your fucking wank.
Yep.
Focus on your health, physically, mentally, and emotionally, while building your business, and make that your priority outside of your business. You'll get there a lot quicker.
Yep.
Because the minute you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally strong in your body and mind, all the shit that's going to happen anyway in business can't fuck with you as much.
Yeah, for sure.
Most people are going to have a lot of self-worth issues, no matter who they are. I don't give a fuck your upbringing. You'll have self-worth issues. Your business and your mistakes along the way will introduce you to your self-worth issues. And if you either haven't dealt with them or you're not accepting that you're still growing from them, you will take that and become a victim every single time you make a mistake in your business.
Yep.
As is even just happening right now to me 3 years in. Right now, as we just got on here.
Yep.
I'm still having to accept that I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to get it wrong. I don't have Carol protecting me anymore. I don't have Dasa protecting me anymore. I'm out bearing my soul, and when I make big mistakes, I'm going to get big consequences, and a lot of people are going to not like me.
Yeah.
And they're going to say things to me, and they're probably going to be right. So get the fuck used to being wrong. You ain't going to be right for long in business until you get to the top.
Yeah.
Physical, mental, emotional. Don't worry about financial. You'll get financial when you figure those three out.
Yeah, for sure. And you've said that to me before as well. Like,
you know what I think it is, actually? I want to come back to that question. Just listening to Danny. He's talking a lot about what happens kind of for him in business. I think if you're someone that's about to start a business, maybe do a bit of a reality check, because I've spoken to people that are like, oh, I want to work less. That's why I want to get into business and get a lot of money for it.
Don't work like that, brother.
That's not business. Win the lottery. Good luck with it.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
You know, because it's Monday to Sunday, and I swear there's another day in there, but I can't work out what it is.
Yeah.
They haven't named it. I swear it doesn't fucking stop.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know of anyone that works less for success.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. No, you got to put in the grind.
Yeah.
And then there's a polarity to life, you know. Yeah, you have a good week, expect a shit one.
Yep.
And don't fucking tail between your legs and run out, go, no, I'll give up. No, there's a polarity to everything.
Yeah. Head down, ass up, and go fucking harder.
And be real.
Yep.
So I just want to make more money.
Yep.
That's not going to get you
Well, ask your current employer for more shifts.
Yeah.
You get more money.
Yep.
You know, I want to work less. Doesn't happen.
No.
No one's ever said, yeah, I get to work fuck all. And
Yeah,
I'm
but
rich
how
because of
often
it.
do you fucking hear that though, bro? It's such a common thing here, a lot. Like, but no, you've hit the nail on the head there for sure.
Work harder on yourself than you do on your job
Yep.
or your business. You do that, you get there a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But either way, business, it's a 10-year minimum process.
Yep.
So when you don't get rich after 6 months and you give up, you've probably made the right decision going back to your job,
Yeah.
because you ain't got the nuts. You just ain't got them, and that's not an insult. You
Yeah.
just ain't got the fucking cojones between your legs, or whatever the female equivalent of that is, to be politically correct these days, to be able to make it if 6 months in you have decided, well, I didn't get rich, so it didn't work.
Yeah.
But yet you'll go back and spend another 35 years working for someone else and never have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Other than complain every day, but you still go.
Yeah.
So take that mindset and start showing up every day at your job, at your business, and keep complaining about it the same. No problem. But at least you stuck it out.
Yeah.
You could be dead tomorrow. People keep acting like today is a promise.
Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yep. And look, mate, as we've both lost close mates recently, it just can happen like that, you know. And so you're completely right there. Look, fellas, we're hitting an hour and a half. We're going to wrap it up. I just want to personally thank both of you for travelling all the way down here.
Rough.
Big love. Again, thank you to the sponsors, Eiffel Drive Club, the Goods Clothing Co., Wolf's Painting, and of course these legends, Inside Out Coaching. Hope you've enjoyed it, guys. That is season 2, episode 1. Peace.
That's a wrap.